We are rocking. We are rocking. We're rocking. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, first of all, I just can't tell you how, oh, look at that. I thought for a moment I was going to have to tell you that we were going to have to reschedule because my guest of honor wasn't able to make it technically, but I see him in the room right now. But we haven't had a chance to talk about anything. So we are talking wing time, okay? So look, I'm using the excited music because we're talking about excited things. My name is Bob Doyle, as it says right here. I'm the host of The Bob Doyle Show, also known as being one of the featured teachers in the film and book The Secret. I want to make sure, before I go too much further, that this broadcast is, in fact, doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm just calling it up on my iPad. There I am, or there's a screen anyway. There, okay. So we're happening there. That's good news. And we're also over on YouTube somewhere. If you are joining me in the Zoom room, and if you are not JP, I'm going to mute you and have you muted. And so here's what we plan on discussing today. It's the basics of digital currency, guys. It's crazy out there right now. Am I right? Am I right? And we've got so much happening in terms of like people like very excited about it, people hyping all sorts of opportunity, and then on the other side of the coin. See what I did there? On the other side, we've got people going, oh, everything's a scam. It's, you know, all this stuff. So just as irresponsible as the people are who are going out there and, you know, scamming people, promising the moon, you know, just being irresponsible with what they're saying, we also have the other side of the people, you know, who are such naysayers and so resistant to new things that they think everything's a scam. So it's very confusing right now. It's a very confusing environment. What do we do? Who do we trust? Who do we believe? How do I get into this? You know, there's way more questions, right, than answers for most of us right now. So it says I'm getting a notification that there's a lag, and I see it lagging right here. I see it's all stuttery. I'm not quite sure why that is, and I don't know that there's anything I can do about it. Let me see if I can just troubleshoot real quick, see what's going on, if there's any information I can get. But I don't know. I guess the only I'm sorry, guys. I really don't know what I can do about it. You can try if you want to pop over to boy, what is the YouTube live link? I don't know right offhand. But there's another way to see it. Can you hear me? Is the audio okay?
I don't see a lag myself.
Yeah, it's only on Facebook, Jim.
Oh.
It's what's going out to Facebook right now that's lagging, and I can see it. It's very choppy and weird. So I just want to make sure that the audio is also not. If you can hear me, that's one thing. I might be able to. Boy, I just don't know. It's risky to start and stop. I'm afraid that if I stop it and then try and start it again, we're gonna lose the feed, and I won't be able to do it. So if you can just, if anyone watching on Facebook can just let me know if the audio is okay, we will get through this, even if the video is like this. And I've got a local recording right now that I can replace the video with, that's choppy with the good one. So I just, you know, we can work on all of that. It may be a bandwidth issue. I've got lots of people here in the Zoom room, you know, and I have no idea why this is happening. It doesn't normally happen, obviously. Somebody please on Facebook say I can hear you. That would be so nice. I've asked so many times. It's very important that I know.
I can hear you.
I know you can hear me. Everyone on Zoom can hear me. This is all of the issues are with Facebook right now. So okay, audio's good, but lagging. Well, I'm not sure what to say. I would like to go ahead and continue if I can, because we've got everybody here, and we've got some timing issues that we'd like to do it. If it really gets bad, we can stop and we can redo, or I can post the recording. We can all have the conversation we're having here. If it gets just too hard to watch, I can absolutely and will upload a nice, smooth version with everything working. Jilly says she refreshed and it's fine now. And Dawn has shared the YouTube link. Let me see. I've got so many screens here, guys. You just would not believe what's going on the screen. Now, Dawn has just shared that. You could try. I don't know if you can copy and paste that, but you can get it from the comments, and you can try and watch it there and see if it's any better. But Golden and Jilly and everybody says the audio is good. So let's try that. Well, now it says I'm breaking up again. So I have no idea, but I don't want to dwell on this. We're going to get moving. So let's just talk about what we intend on accomplishing here today. I said it a little bit at the beginning, but now we've got some folks in here. I'm going to say it again. We've got all of this conversation, all of this hype about digital currency. Some people know absolutely nothing about it. I don't know who in the world is an absolute expert on it because it's changing all the time. But over the course of this series of conversations that I'm going to be having with various people, we're going to demystify this stuff. Okay, that's my goal, is that everybody feels comfortable with getting involved with digital currency in some capacity, because regardless of what you think or whatever the naysayers are saying, digital currency is the way of the future. We need to understand how to get into it, obviously as safely and responsibly as possible. And that to do that, you need to have a good education. You can't just believe everything you hear. You can't get caught up in hype, and you just need to really be patient, breathe, and digest and educate yourself, because this is a whole new world we're entering. And you're going, and it's just the fact. It would be nice if everything could just be handed to us and explained to us and spoon-fed us, but guys, this is not something that's going to be spoon-fed to us, by the powers that be. Where this is a major disruption. Not everybody wants you to understand all of it, right? So it's going to take self-motivation to be able to get educated and get up to where you need to be able to take action that you can feel good about. So I want to introduce a guy who is going to help us through this first part of the maze. And this is a guy who I met through Lynn. Those of you who know, my partner in life is Lynn Rose, and she was at an event and learned the first little things about digital currency. Came home very excited, and we started looking at it, started exploring it. And as we went down this path, we were eventually introduced to this guy who I'm about to introduce you to, JP. So his name is John Peter Junko, and what I want to tell you about this guy is that he is truly one of the most interesting and intriguing people I've ever met in my life. Conversations with this guy are literally mind-blowing, like mind-bendy. And it's really cool, actually, for a person like me who I really don't have a lot of mentors in my life. I'm known for my law of attraction work, and people ask me all the time, who are your mentors, who are your teachers? And I really can't point to that many people. JP has come into my life in the past few months or so and has truly become a mentor to me in a way that not many people have. And he's been extremely patient. He understands that I am confused and overwhelmed and don't know what I'm doing and need guidance, and that I can get excited. And he doesn't want me to, hold on a second. Somebody's got to mute. I got to mute. Everyone coming on into the Zoom room, you got to mute. I'm trying to get you normally. Ideally, we would only have JP in the Zoom room, because I think that's all we're talking to. And if you you can watch this obviously on Facebook, although it's kind of choppy right now, at bobdoyleshow.com/digitalcurrency. That'll take you directly here, or the YouTube link, which is posted there on the Facebook feed. I'm really sorry about the choppy video. Don't know what that's about, and someone can tell me if it's okay on YouTube. In any case, I'm very excited about introducing JP to you, because I'm excited about you getting to know him and listening to how he explains this. And he's just a great storyteller. It's like, I don't know if you guys read Way of the Peaceful Warrior, but if you have, he's kind of like Socrates, okay, in that book for me. And so I'm very excited about introducing him to you. Let me see if I can get him up here on the screen and get him unmuted. It's dark where he is, so it's a dark room. So don't be scared when you see him in the dark like that. But I see him off in the distance. Hold on just one second. Let me get going over here. And there he is. He's looking up. Hi, JP. Do you see me seeing you? And talk to me.
Can you see me waving?
I can see you waving. I can hear you talking. It's all grand. So welcome.
Fantastic.
So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this for us and break this down for us and just kind of help us get started. And I know that, when you and I first started talking, I had a million questions, and you've been very good about like slowing me down and saying, now hang on, don't go too fast, don't be irresponsible, all of these other things, because it is exciting. And people like me, and I know there's a lot of others who want to just jump in and get rich overnight and all of those other things. And so it's really nice to have somebody who's kind of reeling us back in. But before we really kind of get into the content, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about your background as it relates to this. We don't have the years to listen to your background because it's craziness. But, but in terms of this conversation with digital currency, I'd love for you just to kind of give a little bit of introduction so people understand why I'm even talking to you about this.
Well, to give you a brief overview, I have been seriously contemplating all the things that have been happening in America over the past 30 years, 40 years, 50 years since I've been around on the planet. And one of the things that jumped out at me as soon as I read the first paper about blockchain written by Satoshi Nakamoto, it didn't really hit me that much until I started reading other papers. I'm an avid reader and I love reading papers. One of the papers or articles that really jumped out at me was written by a McKinsey & Company, and I don't know if you can see this on the screen when I hold this up.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, it says how blockchains can change the world. And when I read through what this journalist had posted it as, it was actually an interview, I realized that here's a concept that can bring people back to actually owning the earnings that they've received for their labor and being able to put those earnings to work for themselves if they chose to. You earned, say, US dollars, there's always a portion of it that's deducted in taxes, and there's a large portion that goes out in a variety of other different areas. Whereas with digital currency, if you were to earn digital currency, you own it all free and clear because it's a private contract designed by blockchain. What is blockchain?
Yes, good question.
Okay, a lot of people have been asking me, well, if you read an article on blockchain and you read through the white paper on blockchain, the easiest way for me to equate it is to actually bring up a set of building blocks. Most of us as kids used to have building blocks. They had an A, B, C, D, E, and F on one side, and they had little bunnies and little piggies and little kitties, and we used to stack them up. And I remember stacking up these blocks in the place where I used to like to play. And my sister, of course, would come along either with a ball or with her foot and kick these blocks and knock them all down for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what it showed me is that when you have a blockchain, and this is how I demonstrate blockchain, I use 5 dice, little square rolling dices, and I line up 3 of them, and I put 2 on top of that and 1 on top of that. And I ask people, pull out the bottom one without toppling the whole stack. And it's impossible to do. What blockchain is doing, it's adding transparency and integrity back into all of our transactions, where we know that the labor that we've worked for, if we get paid with blockchain technology in any form or another that's considered digital currency, we own it free and clear. And for me, that hit home as a spiritual aspect. The spiritual aspect is, have we ever been able to own free and clear what we earn in Federal Reserve notes that we cannot own them free and clear? We didn't create them. They may be given to us in the form of income, yet we can't own them free and clear because they belong to someone else. Whereas with blockchain technology, it's considered peer-to-peer transactions, and you own free and clear what you've exchanged with someone else. So I'm hoping that's a simplified explanation of it.
Well, I think it'll be more simple when we can now connect, because people are thinking, they may not have even heard of blockchain before they came to this call. They're just thinking digital currency. They may have only heard of Bitcoin. So they're going, well, how does that relate to Bitcoin and all of that other stuff? So if we can connect those dots so that people understand the context for why are we talking about a blockchain, right? And how does it relate to Bitcoin, and how can I get it, and why do I want it, and all of that?
Well, how many people have actually used one of these in their lifetime?
I have.
Okay. How many people have actually used one of these in their lifetime?
What is that? Oh, a payphone. Yes. Good times.
All right. So when we find something that has outlived its usefulness, like paper money with serial numbers on it that actually have no value, nothing backing it other than somebody's good word. It's politically backed. And we get an opportunity to participate in something that's math backed. I know that with math, there are no mistakes. I enjoyed algebra, trigonometry, and calculus, both in college and in high school. I enjoyed the math part of it because you cannot make a mistake with math. There may be two equations that you can use, but there's no mistakes. Math brings integrity back into currency. So when somebody said, well, blockchain is a math-based currency rather than a politically based currency, I'll tell you, I was just glued to finding and discovering as much as I possibly could about blockchain technology. So what I ended up doing is, of course, I like to read, so I ended up getting a book. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
We can see it. Blockchain Revolution, clear as day.
Yeah, Blockchain Revolution, and it's Donald Tapscott is the gentleman who wrote the book. And I was not aware when I first got involved with blockchain technology, I was not aware that it can be used not only as a medium of exchange of value between people, but it can be used to ensure that musicians and artists get paid for their work before their work is viewed or used. And this to me was the most important factor because I knew so many musicians that were not getting paid for their artistic talents and abilities. And blockchain would prevent that from happening.
Now, this is a subject that I want us to do an entire conversation about because it's one of the first things I heard about, but I still don't get it. I still don't get it, and I don't want to confuse too many people with the music piece and the digital encryption and all that other stuff too much, but I absolutely want to understand that more. So I want us to have a conversation about how the blockchain works along those lines. But for now, if we can, look at the Bitcoin aspect and the opportunity for people right there on that, we probably prevent some confusion.
Okay, fantastic. There were several articles that were gifted to me because people knew that I was searching for articles about blockchain and blockchain technology. And one of the articles that was gifted to me, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's called, let's see here.
Warning signs that digital currency is replacing money.
Okay, yeah, this is the article, and it was sent through to me by email. And what surprised me the most is the article itself was written July the 1st, 2014. And the young lady, Susan, who is the editor of a U.S. independent magazine, she starts off with California Governor Brown signed into law the removal of the ban on the use of cryptocurrencies to accommodate the growing use of alternative payment methods. Quote, from California Assembly Bill number 129, and here's an exact quote. This bill is intended to fine-tune the current law to address payment habits.
Hang on, JP, this is too important and you're breaking up. Hold on 1 second, JP. You're breaking up because our connection's kind of poor and I do not want words missed from what you're reading. So if you can start that again, just reading from the book again, you were breaking up and we couldn't hear some of what you were saying.
Okay, I'm going to try it again. I know that my microphone is working on my computer.
It's not the microphone, it's the connection. And we're fine now.
Okay. I'll read it one more time.
Yep.
This bill is intended to fine-tune current law to address Californians' payment habits in the mobile and the digital fields.
Okay.
When people payment habits, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Ask a question.
No, I just wanted you to now bring that around to what do we do with that?
Okay. What do we do with that? If California already recognized on July the 1st, 2014, that people are going to be seeking out alternative methods of paying each other, mostly because of this device, the phone, our phones, can be used to make payments, right? If people are going to be carrying and storing value on their telephone, they had to not eliminate, but they had to add to clauses in the California Constitution. And the clause was, No state shall make anything but gold or silver coin a tender in payment of debts. That's part of the Constitution. So now we have digital currency that's coming in, and we're finding that the California Assembly Bill number 129 also clearly states that all children from 4th grade on forward will be taught to use digital currency in the classrooms by the teachers. So I went to several of the schools in Santa Barbara, and I asked the school teachers, have you been given a course on how to teach digital currency to your students? Everyone told me the same thing. No,
Right.
I haven't been trained on how to teach digital currency to the students.
Right.
Well, then I asked them point blank, did you read California Assembly Bill number 129? It clearly has a mandate in there that all the schools in California are supposed to teach to children from 4th grade on forward the aspects of blockchain technology and the use of digital currency. And most of the teachers said, well, can you teach us? And I said, I'm not really qualified or equipped to teach you, but let's get you actively involved in learning what blockchain technology is, applying it to your own daily life, and let's see if you can learn it by using it. Because my way of teaching is let's use it for something constructive, and let's see how easy it is to use and to apply. Does that make sense, Bob?
It does, and because that was my experience. It was all just like people are explaining how transactions work in the blockchain, and I just couldn't get my head around it until somebody sent me like $2, right, in Bitcoin. They helped me get set up with a wallet. They sent me $2 so I could see how it worked, and then later that $2 was more than $2, right?
The exact same thing happened to a very close friend of mine, Robert. He was on a Zoom cast in 2016, I believe it was April or May, and somebody had sent him $5 through his telephone. He held up something up to the screen, which I'm going to hold mine up right now. There's a very, very simple way of doing it, and I don't know how easily you can see this.
It's kind of blown out. It's kind of blown out. Is that a barcode you're showing, or?
No, it's actually, it's called a blockchain wallet. So what I do to receive is I just swipe the screen, and I'm going to try to get some glare off of it.
Yeah, it's pretty bright because, okay, that's, yeah, if you get really close, there you go.
Okay, so what he did was he held up his, whoops.
There you go.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, he held up one of these to the screen, and somebody at the other end of a Zoomcast read his code and sent him $5 in blockchain digital currency. And he downloaded his wallet because he's kind of like a techie, kind of a genius. He had downloaded his wallet so that he could receive some digital currency in the form of a blockchain transaction while the Zoomcast was still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And he let it sit in his blockchain wallet, safely stored away for a period of 1 year. He just finished a tour of 3 months in Europe. He came back to Santa Barbara, and I says, Bob, have you taken a look at what's in your blockchain wallet since you've arrived back from Europe? And he says, no, I haven't. I says, well, open it up and punch in the PIN number. And sure enough, he did. $5 had become $86.40.
Doing nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Doing absolutely nothing, just sitting in his blockchain wallet. And at that point in time, I had already taught over 150 people at Santa Barbara to create a blockchain wallet. It's very simple. It's very easy. If you create a storage method and you can store digital currency into this simple storage method, you then have an ability to not only value the increase as the currency increases in value, but you would have the ability to send and receive digital currency. So with everyone that I assisted in creating a blockchain wallet, I would send them some digital currency. And 4 months ago, I sent a young lady $1.50 just to test out her wallet. And 4 months later, that $1.50 is now worth $18. And she said, I didn't do anything with what you sent me. I didn't add any more to it. I didn't subtract from it. How could it become $18? That was the question. I said blockchain technology is unique in the fact that as more and more people adopt the concept, accept the concept as being real, and start to use the concept through distribution methods, that's when more and more people are going to say, hey, I wish I would have gotten started earlier.
Right, and so I want to jump in 2 quick points here because it's still early. I want everybody to know it's still early. You know, because people, there's a lot of talk about, oh, if I bought Bitcoin 9 years ago, blah, 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 as if the opportunity is over. And because it's not just Bitcoin out there, there are several coins to choose from and all of these other things. There's still lots of opportunity. And I think, is it a vast oversimplification to say that it's, to a great extent, it's demand that drives the prices up?
That's exactly what's happening, Bob.
Okay.
The demand is driving up the price. Yes.
So to reflect back on what JP just shared with us a few minutes ago, we're talking about how the demand is going up, how, you know, it's being mandated that it's going to be taught. More and more companies are looking at it. Big, huge companies that you do business with every day are going to start to accept digital currency, which of course is going to then, more people are going to be using it, which is going to drive the cost up. And we're so early in the evolution of this. This is why now is the time to get involved. And what JP is talking about is not getting in there and becoming a day trader, right? And learning and sitting there and watching charts and stressing out all the time. That's one way that people are doing this. And that's if you're a beginner, that's a crazy way to do this, you know? But so many people are doing it that way. And that's why there's lots of naysayers. There's people who are going to get burned and walk away with a bad taste in their mouth because they're doing it in a really irresponsible way without getting the education first. What JP just said is get Bitcoin, just get it, hold it, and it will grow because the demand is going up. And then there are other things you can do with that once it grows. Am I saying that correctly, JP?
Yeah, you've got it. You've got it perfect. There was an article that really, really hit home with me that I read. It's out of a local newspaper here. And the title of the article is, I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
What is going on with China and Bitcoin?
Yes. And when I read through the article, I realized that the people in China had a lot of accumulated a lot of what's called their currency, the yuans. But if you try to leave the country or try to send it overseas to purchase something that you would like to purchase in another country, they couldn't do it. So what they did was, the article clearly states that they loaded up and converted 20 to 50,000 US dollars worth of their currency into Bitcoin, and they carried their phones on an airplane to another country, sold off their Bitcoin in another country, and then purchased the currency of the country they arrived at, and they were able to safely carry stored wealth on their telephone in the form of a blockchain wallet using blockchain technology. That interested me a lot because there's no border that you can't cross that can prevent you from carrying your wealth or your assets with you in a very, very dignified manner. On your telephone, everybody's going to carry a telephone, so why not use the telephone with a blockchain wallet to store some digital currency? It makes sense, doesn't it, Bob?
And yes, it does. And let's be really clear that we're talking about this is instead of keeping your money or that money in a bank, right? So you're literally becoming your own bank when it comes to this stuff. Am I saying that correctly?
You're absolutely right there. You're becoming your own bank. That's what I'm going to do is take a look at an article that appeared in the Economist magazine. And I don't know if everyone on the Zoomcast or at Facebook Live is aware of what the Economist magazine is. I may be holding
a little bit more the other way. A little bit more the other way. There you go. The world's most valuable resource, right?
Okay. So there's the Economist magazine, and there's an article that appeared in the Economist magazine, and this is from the May issue, and the name of the article, the title of the article was Cryptocurrencies, Friends or Foes. So it was a very well-written article that didn't have try to implant in you what negatives or positives. It gave you both sides of the picture and allowed you an opportunity to make a wise choice. Mm-hmm. And the reason I share this article today is because I like to highlight and write in things, and that paragraph down there in the middle with its orange highlighted, I'm going to read it just for the fun of it, because here's what it says. Blockchain is what's called a bottoms-up infrastructure, either within banks or shared amongst them. Blockchain is an immutable shared record known as a distributed ledger. It might list transactions, payments, or simply the owners of money, land, shares, or other assets. All parties have their own copies of the ledger, and each ledger permits only one version of the truth, holding out the promise of huge savings in back offices. Blockchain, if I were to describe blockchain, blockchain reduces the cost of trust. So when people in the community, they know that I'm avidly involved with digital currency. A lot of the young people here that attend college, a lot of the children who used to be on my soccer teams when I was both a coach and a referee, because I did that for 25 years here in Santa Barbara community, they're all grown. I used to referee and coach them when they were 8 years old and 10 years old. They're all grown, and they see me around shopping, and they say, "We heard you're doing something with digital currency. Can you share it with us?" And I say, "Sure, no problem." And the first thing I ask them to do, stop over to my home, bring your computer. We're going to find a secure internet. We're not going to do this at a restaurant or a hotel or Whole Foods or any one of those places where somebody else can be on the same line with us. Mm-hmm. We're going to use a secure internet, and we're going to create for you a blockchain wallet. And the company that I like to use is Blockchain Wallet Luxembourg. They were the first company that offered a blockchain wallet. They've been at it. They've perfected their blockchain wallet. Their security of it is absolutely immeasurable against any other wallet. And the security of using it online with your phone, that to me was the most important. How simple and how easy is the app. Not only to install on your phone, but to use it on your computer. And I like simplicity because I'm not very technologically proficient. And for me, the blockchain wallet was very simple to explain, to share, and to teach other people how to use it.
And I will just say that if I understood the things you've told me correctly, you have helped close to 650 people or something like that get started with a blockchain wallet, and you're doing it one-on-one with people.
Yes, I am. Because I don't know how to use this media that you have the capacity to use.
Thank God we found one another. Because that's
I think that's wonderful. If we can teach more than...
Yeah, and one of the things now, first of all, I want to just check in with the group because I haven't yet, and because of the technical issues, it's a little crazy. But I just want to make sure that you guys are getting value from this. You're understanding this. You can ask your questions. And if they're relevant, I will relate them as we're talking about things. If you have questions, if you're just on full-on listen mode because of the information, you're just trying to digest it. That's totally cool too. Nobody has to say anything if they don't want to, but we are here to answer your questions. I want you to understand that one of the things we're going to do here on this call, maybe right now, is start to help you, point you in the direction of getting a blockchain wallet of your own, this one that JP was talking about. Now understand, there are, if you start, when you start to do your research, which you'd better do, when you start to do your research around all this, you're going to find there are different wallets, there's you have all sorts of options. And so the idea is don't get overwhelmed with this. Trust what JP is saying, like I had to do, and just start here. And as you learn more, then you can move your money over here. You can use a different thing, whatever. But this is a way that you can get started in a really safe way, right? And then just play with this in a basically low to no risk fashion. So one of the things that we've got set up for you here, and I need to paste something for. I need to put a link up here for you. Is a way for you to request these links. Now, we're going to be talking about several different places to go to set up to get your blockchain wallet and do other things. And so, instead of me telling you the links right now, I'm going to actually, we're going to put them in the comments or a link. And then when you click that link, it will start a Facebook Messenger conversation if you're on Facebook. Okay, so you're going to click that and then watch your Messenger. If you're on your computer, it's going to open up a whole new screen of Messenger. And all you do is there's going to be a conversation that goes there. You're just going to click little yes buttons as they show up. It's fully automated, and it waits for you to take one step and then another step and then another step. Okay, so I'm going to put that up for you shortly. I'm not going to do it quite right yet because I want us to just keep talking, but I just wanted you to know to stick around because we're going to get you hooked up with all of this stuff. And then next week, the plan is when we do our next thing is we may do it a little bit differently where we meet in a Zoom room or whatever so that you can do what JP showed you. A couple of people might hold up their phone and we'll do this. We'll do this, send you actual a transaction, a buck or whatever like that, right, JP? And so that we can demonstrate how easy it is to work with. I just wanted to let you all know that we are providing all sorts of fun stuff for you, so stick around with that. Is there anything you want to add to that, or you want to continue where you left off? I just wanted to jump in and sort of check in with people.
Fantastic. I love what you just said, that people who do download a blockchain wallet to their telephone and have it with a Zoomcast room, because I know that it can be done, I will be able to scan their code with my blockchain wallet, and we will actually do blockchain transactions live so that people can see that from the time I click the little button on my phone that says send to the time they hear their phone go ding. I don't care what part of the country they're in, whether they're in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, or Hawaii.
Right.
From the time I click that little button send, it takes 3/100,000ths of a second before their phone goes ding. Funds just received. And we're going to do it when all the banks are closed, because right at 6 o'clock, I know that most of the banks in Santa Barbara are closed. So we know that it's a bankless transaction using blockchain technology, and it's going to be peer-to-peer, phone to phone. Whoever's holding the phone is holding the blockchain wallet. So that's a challenge I'm putting out to your listeners. And I see on the screen now, several of my close friends have joined in on this. I'm finally seeing some people across the top. Steffi Ray, wave your hand.
Well, they can't see any of those people. They can only see you right now.
Facebook can't see them. I see Tim Ortega is here in the chat room. I don't know who. I gave several of my close friends the link. I see Sam McKinney, Mary Thorpe, Catherine, Lori Salisbury, Ani, Mark Butterfield, Sharon, and Dan Bergdahl. I see quite a few people that actually joined on the link that I was only supposed to use. And I apologize if I made a mistake, but that's the only thing that I knew to send to other people.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's okay. So the Facebook feed is facebook.com/digitalcurrency, and it's fine, and there's no problem. But it's just that I'm just letting you know that people can't actually see them right now. They can only see you because that's how it's set up.
Okay, well, I hope I have my hair combed correctly.
You're fine. So look, there's a question that was asked, and I want to throw this out there while we're kind of in here. Someone from YouTube is asking, what's a usable guidance to go by to determine how much money is safe to risk to try out with buying Bitcoins? And I heard that one Bitcoin is worth over $10,000. Ouch, if that's true. So do you want to address that? I mean, that's a reasonable question. It's like people will wonder, well, how do I get started? How much is to get started? What's a good number? These are all logical questions people would have at this point.
Well, what I did with people who wanted to get started, when they loaded their blockchain wallet onto their telephone, we have a Bitcoin ATM machine here in Oxnard, California, which is close to Ventura. It takes a 40-mile drive to get to the machine. I went down there and tested how it worked, and how, very, very simple, several months ago. Now, I plugged in $100 just to find out how the machine was going to work, and roughly about 8% of the $100 went to pay for the fees of the machine and for the electricity of the machine. So I didn't receive $100 worth of Bitcoin when I put in a $100 bill. Mm-hmm. I received less than $100 worth of Bitcoin. It was probably $92. By the time I arrived home, my blockchain wallet shows that the Bitcoin had increased to $136. And I started questioning. I know I bought $100 worth. How can it be $136 already?
Right.
So everyone that I send down to the Bitcoin machine, no matter what they put in, and the one that I found at Oxnard, California, it will accept up to $800. They don't have to take a picture of your eye scan. They don't have to take your thumbprint. They don't need any identification. And we had to wait in line because there were 21 people in line ahead of us. It was a Friday afternoon when we got there, and everybody had a fistful of US dollars. And they're feeding this machine, and they're holding their phone, and they're getting Bitcoin loaded on their machine. And 30 seconds after they walked away from the machine, they're moving the Bitcoin to somebody else's blockchain wallet in another country.
Okay, explain.
Okay, how do they do that? They receive US dollars as payment, but if they were to move it through Western Union or MoneyGram, they're losing $170 for every $1,000 that they send.
Wow.
These are migrant workers that are being deprived of receiving their full pay,
Right.
so they convert it as quickly as they can into Bitcoin, and they move the Bitcoin directly to their families in Mexico, and it arrives as Bitcoin, and it arrives with a higher value than what they started with.
Amazing. I hope this is landing with folks. Now, right here, there's a graphic here of ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs. This is just over here in this part of the world, but the point is they're out there. And so if you want to find out how to do that, I assume you can just, and maybe JP has a link that we can share later to maybe this page. It actually says coinatmradar.com.
That's the one, yes.
Yep. Coinatmradar.com. If you want to, and if Don, if you're watching this, you could type that in there, and people can go and find out where they have Bitcoin ATMs in the U.S. So that's a fun way to get some Bitcoin going. What's another quick way to get some Bitcoin, or is that just?
Well,
I mean, where you don't if you don't have an ATM around you or whatever, what's another way to kind of get started?
Well, there are a number of people that have logged in a special account at something called Gemini.com.
Okay.
All right. Now, Gemini.com is an exchange because nobody's investing anything here. They're merely exchanging some US dollars. I call it funny money or fiat currency. They're exchanging some fiat currency for some blockchain denominated digital currency. In doing that, it might be to their advantage. More than likely, it'll be extreme advantage for those people who choose to do that. And there's a logic and a reason to it. The US dollar continues to drop in value, whereas the blockchain technology continues to increase in value. Does that make sense so far?
Yep, absolutely.
So if you have an increase, because there was one gentleman, he put $800 into the machine in 20s and 50s and however it was, and he was deeply saddened because when he saw it on his phone, it was only $756 that he received.
Right.
Okay, it was 8% that was removed. Now, by the time he drove back to Santa Barbara, he found out that his $756 was now valued at $860.
Not a bad ride home.
Yeah, now that's 45 minutes from the time he purchased the Bitcoin to the time he was getting ready to make a transaction. It went from $756 to $860 or $840. And by the time he spent it, it had a value of $890. So if we equate Bitcoin to US dollars, which one would you rather hold? One that depreciates in value or one that increases in value?
It's a no-brainer, JP. But I think really it's just about, well, people just need to know, well, how do I hold it? And that's what we're talking about. How do I get it? How do I hold it? And really, I just, again, I want to emphasize that, you know, what we're talking about here is this is where we are right now with this, that we seem to be on this continual rise. We do have bumps, we have major drop-offs. It'll be way up here, and then the next day it goes down in value. But there's no denying that as a whole, the trend is going upwards with these solid coins, with these legitimate coins and so on. And then there's all these other little, what they call altcoins, coins that aren't Bitcoin, basically. And, you know, that's where people are getting a lot of excitement, but they're rushing they're oh, if this one's only a few pennies, I'm just going to buy these and these and these and these, and they consider themselves traders and things like that when they have no training in that, and that's just incredibly risky. And so what we're trying to get you to do is to get in this and feel good about this and feel safe, and then as you get more comfortable, you can expand into other things and learn what's a smart way to make it grow. And what we're here to do is to share some simple ways to make it grow, and the easiest way right now is just to buy it. Right? Because that's where we're doing. Just get some and get it in a blockchain wallet, and then you do what you want to. From there, you can watch it grow. You can learn how to make it grow even more, which we want to touch on at least one way before we end this call today. But yeah, I mean, I just want to be clear that it's not like, because people get into this, oh, you're telling people it's always going to go up and always going to go up. We don't know what's going to happen in the future for sure. We can't predict the future, but we can look at what's happening now, and we can look at all the factors in play, and there are some undeniable things that are happening that are absolutely going to happen. So that's why now is such a great time to really get into this, but it's also a really tricky time because everybody and their grandmother is yelling digital currency and saying, here, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, and do this, and they're taking all these risks. And I know I've just put my voice among those people, but I'm really not asking you to follow me. I'm asking you to get educated. And so what I'm trying to do is facilitate the distribution of information that is as low risk as possible, right? And trying to get something that is potentially as confusing as blockchain and all these coins, and try and make it simple. So folks, if you're watching this now and you still feel maybe a little lost or whatever, sometimes repeated viewings help, right? Like JP has told me things numerous times, and like maybe the sixth time I'll go, got it, right? And maybe it's because I needed just a little bit more information. So I guess what I'm saying is, if all the lights aren't coming on for you yet, that's okay and normal. It takes a while because it's such a massive paradigm shift. Every aspect of our money is changing, right? How we quote unquote invest it, how we spend it, how we hold it, how we share it, all of it, right? And it's all happening really, really fast, and there's this avalanche of information. So I'm really just recommending that, again, while it's extremely exciting and the opportunity is huge, and I want you to take advantage of the opportunity, I want you to be smart. That's basically what I'm saying. So I did post a few seconds ago the link that you can click to start this sort of conversation, to get these links going, and I'm going to and we're going to explain all of the links that you'll be getting. Let's talk real quick, if it's not too much of a jump, JP, because we're 10 minutes away from the top of an hour. So I want to kind of to let them know what what we're giving them, and I want to speak specifically about the document, which I have fully read, Cryptocurrency 101, and why we're giving that to them. And the way you get it is to click that link and to start this conversation, so that we can give you all the links, because for me to say them and typing them all individually in this, you get lost. This is a way for you to just start the conversation, and hopefully it's working for you right now. Let's talk just a little bit about that document, if that's okay, JP.
Yes. The gentleman who wrote the document, James Altucher, is someone that I've corresponded with on numerous occasions. And I asked him, I said, I really appreciate you putting this book together to give a lot of people a virtual and very complete and precise explanation of what is digital currency, why it's here to stay, how to store it safely, and how to ensure that you can protect your assets from confiscation, elimination, and inflation mostly. When you do have a blockchain wallet and you store some digital currency there in your blockchain wallet on the blockchain, it's an immutable ledger that's verified by many, many people. I completed a transaction just for the fun of it. I completed a transaction early January of last year. And what I didn't realize is that when it was confirmed on the blockchain, there showed a long, long list of people who confirmed that I owned that blockchain serial number. I moved that blockchain serial number to another individual, and the blockchain serial number movement was complete, it was precise, and it was verified And I didn't realize that there were 3 blockchain verifiers, and there, in addition to that, there were close to 123 other people called blockchain miners that verified the height of the transaction and the value of the transaction. When I discovered this on my telephone and I started scrolling down through all the people who did the verification process, I realized, oh my goodness, this is extremely transparent. There's no way any politician would ever love this stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I'm hoping you'll do now is, like, because that can be confusing. Like, so what does that mean? What is the implication of that? Because while what you're talking about is every transaction is verified and accounted for and all that, yet there is anonymity, which is another aspect of this that we haven't even talked about.
That's correct. Yes.
We can
the
see.
Anonymity,
Yeah. Go ahead, please. Explain it better than I can.
Yeah, the anonymity that I appreciate about this is that your blockchain wallet has a series of numbers and letters, and it has 4 dashes in your blockchain wallet ID. Once you have this blockchain wallet ID, it's not something you give to people ever. You only provide a receive code, which again is an alphanumeric hash is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a series of letters and numbers, uppercase letters and lowercase letters, and it forms the only thing that I can call it is it's a cryptograph, because I used to participate in cryptography, in encrypting documents so that they were illegible to anyone while traveling through the internet. Mm-hmm. The system was called PGP. If you know anything about PGP, the hash that's created every time you provide somebody with your wallet receive code is very, very similar. You're the only one who can use that hash to send funds, which is a receive code for a blockchain phone or a blockchain wallet. So I encourage everyone that's on the call, everyone that's on the Zoomcast, everyone that's on Facebook Live. I have no idea what it looks like. I'm going to try to watch it on Facebook Live later to find out what it actually looked like.
It looks amazing.
Say that again?
It looks amazing.
Oh, I like the ocean that's behind you. I mean, all I have behind me is my clock.
It's great. It works. So, but one of the things I want to mention about the Cryptocurrency 101 is there is a step-by-step walkthrough of getting set up with this blockchain wallet. Okay?
That's correct.
So we're going to be sending you the link. The first link you're going to get is the link to download the blockchain wallet. Then, as you look at it and go, now what? You look at the cryptocurrency book that we're also sending you as you continue to go down the message path, and it will walk you through with screenshots and everything exactly what to do. Now, I'm actually thinking, JP, that I'm not sure how we would do this since I'm already set up, but it might be great, not now, but sometime between now and the next session, where we could actually create a video walkthrough of it or something. I'm not sure how we would do that, create a whole new wallet for a real person, but in some way demonstrate for people to make it even easier step by step. But those of you who can follow basic instructions can read the book and get set up, and then you'll be ready for the next call, right, with JP, where we can actually, do a transaction and you can see that work. So I'm really, really stressing that you take action on these links that we send you. Read that because you're going to feel a lot better about this whole thing when you do. Because I did. Because the very first thing it starts talking about is the reality of this. People are being stupid. And one of the key things he says out there is when you understand that you can ignore 98% of what you're hearing about cryptocurrency, things get a lot easier. What's your comment on that, JP? Because you shared that part with me.
I apologize. I wasn't listening carefully because there's a thing that showed up at the bottom of my screen, and I was reading it, and somebody was making a comment from Tim Ortega to Mary Thorpe, and I inadvertently looked and read through the comment. And I'm not good at multitasking.
JP, no explanation necessary. If you watch the Bob Doyle show, you know I go off the rails about 12 times a minute. So it's no big deal. What I was saying was that the Cryptocurrency 101 book made the point that if when you understand that you can ignore 98% of what you hear about cryptocurrency, the whole process becomes a lot easier. Can you kind of talk about that?
that I think that his percentage that he's applying there is absolutely the truth, because the majority of what we're going to read from the local news media may be slanted in one direction. And I don't know if this is still the truth, but I do remember and recall that most of the news media is owned and controlled by several families that are not really happy about digital currency coming into play. So we may have some slanted news, and then we have some news that's unbiased. And if the news is unbiased, like what James put into his book, where he says, be careful, because digital currency may only have a value. If you buy digital currency now, it may only have a value of 1 cent, 2 cent, or 3 cent. And a year from now, it has a value of $1 to $20, because usability and acceptance and adoption have come into play. So the main consideration that I encourage everyone to put forth is make sure when you're creating your blockchain wallet, you are on a secure wireless network, that you know there's nobody else that can be on the network. Make sure that you take screenshots of your entries, especially where it says, do not share this wallet ID with anyone. Do not share this pairing code with anyone. Follow the instructions. If you read too carefully in creation of a blockchain wallet, you'll do good, and you'll have the security that you need from prying eyes and from hackers. And that's what I want to give people, is peace of mind. If we do this logically, step by step, we can be safe and secure in exchanging some US dollars for some digital currency if we do nothing less than just watch it grow in value as the adoption, acceptance, usability, and distribution start to take place. And those are the 4 key factors to any digital currency. And we read through the book that is being gifted this evening, Cryptocurrency 101. Share it with a few friends and invite a few people to the next Zoomcast or Facebook Live, because there are several close friends of mine that I can see their faces on the screen that really know a lot more about their view of digital currency than I have. Tim Ortega is here and Jim Hamilton is here. When Jim expressed to me, as a friend to a friend, the spiritual aspects of digital currency, I never took it into consideration that we get to own all of our labor that we've applied. We get to own it because we own the serial number that is given to us in the form of digital currency. And to me, ownership is one of the primary factors of being able to share a concept with other people. And Jim can share some of his ideas on that. I know Tim Ortega, who's also showing up on the screen in front of me, he's got some fantastic, fantastic ideas to share about how to put those few little exchanges that you made in digital currency, when you exchange some US dollars for some digital currency, how to put it to work so that it starts to grow for you safely. And there's so many wise and influential people that I'll try to bring us all together somehow on this radio program or Zoomcast. But I don't even know what to call it. Is it a radio show?
It's not on the radio yet, but it's a broadcast. Now here's the thing. So now we've talked an hour and we've talked about the basic stuff, what it is. We've talked about the importance of getting a blockchain wallet. Now we could wrap it up nice and tidy and call that part 1, but we do have these folks in the room right now. You know, we've got a couple of people who could share if you feel like it would contribute value to this conversation, and if they're willing to come on and share, I can put them right here on the screen and we can do that. So that's completely up to them. I'm looking at Jim. He can nod or whatever, and whoever wants to play, although he doesn't seem to be moving now, so it's hard to tell if he's still there or not. But I mean, I'm happy to share whatever information you think would benefit and help folks here the most. If these folks are willing to share, I just need to know from them that they are. I'm looking at Jim's face, and I don't. Tim, I see, but I don't see his camera on, so I don't know if he's able to come on or not. But you know, I'm happy to.
Well, this is something that I'm thinking about might be really a blessing for the future, where we get a few people in like a chat room, which is, to me, this is kind of like a chat room, where certain people might answer a question in a different manner than I would.
Okay.
And discussion where you ask the questions and we give a panel of people who are actively using digital currency. And almost everyone that is on the screen is actively already using digital currency, applying digital currency, and benefiting from the increase, not only in the value, but in using a simplified trading program to increase your digital currency. If you have a little, let's fill the bucket until it starts flowing over. Because one of the things I love about digital currency is that it's a shared economy. So let's share the blessings with other people.
Now, okay, yes, and so I like the idea of having another set. And guys who are watching, this is all very organic. We're just, we're going to go with the flow. So whatever the need arises, we can create. There's nothing set in stone. So I like this idea of having sort of a group powwow of folks who are really want to take this conversation up to the next level, have a different level of interest. And so if you're watching this and would like to be a part of that kind of a conversation, just click that link there, and then you'll kind of get in the queue, and then I can communicate with you and let you know when we're going to do that. And I'd want you to get these links anyway, you can get these documents. I've had some questions asked of me, like, how do I benefit from doing this show? And I want to be really transparent about that, okay? Now, one of the things we haven't talked about, you just touched on, and it was in the plan to start talking about it, and we can a little bit, how to have this automatically grow for you. I'm prepared. It's in the links that people are being sent. I do have a link to that, but we haven't talked about it. And I don't know if I want to, if we want to shift gears that much, but at the same time, they're going to get this link and they're going to be confused as to what it is if we don't touch on it a little bit. But what I would like to do is go ahead and say that, yes, we're going to schedule another thing, maybe in a Zoom room, where we can get people, face to face. We can do the exchange. We'll see what people want to do and how you can gather the folks. But I really like the idea of letting people hear stories from people like these folks in the room who are ahead of the game in this, who are already doing it and seeing some results. I think that would be really, really super powerful. We just didn't plan for it now. If I had known we're going to have this many people in the room, we could have done it totally differently. But I didn't know, so.
Whoops, I muted myself because my phone started ringing in the background, and I just figured out how to unmute it. So I may have been talking and you didn't hear the words that I said, but that's okay.
I didn't hear. So it's Betty here in the deal. Where's the scam? This is, people are on high alert, and I'm not going to ignore it. But it's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this broadcast. You're going to hear, first of all, like JP said, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist type of person, but there are clear, once you understand it, you're going to understand why there are some entities or whatever who aren't really thrilled about this idea. You would understand why people would plant information or do kind of crazy stuff to throw people off the track of this and raise a lot of suspicion. And of course, there are people who scam people out there. And so that is it. All of these questions that are raising doubt are legitimate and fair, and I want to do my best to answer as transparently as possible about all of this. If you lose it, you lose it. But what if you don't, right? And so it is one of these things where it takes, depending on your constitution, you're going to approach this differently than other people. You're going to know some people who are super aggressive, who are taking crazy risks and might win big and might fall hard, right? This type of thing, right? That's basically our goal, and that's certainly the approach that JP has tried to hold me to as I've gotten excited about and asking about a zillion other things, right?
Yeah, fantastic. I do appreciate your comments and the way it's done, and I realize that looking at the clock behind me and the clock on my computer, it's we've gone for 1 hour, and yeah. I'd like to invite everybody back so that we can do this again. And I'd like to actually encourage some of the people that joined using the link that I was only supposed to use to come back and have a real down-home discussion of how can we ensure that what we're doing is safe and secure, and it can be an alternative method for people to store some value in a way that it cannot be taken, stolen, or lose value of what we put into it.
Right.
Because when I exchange US dollars into euros before I go to Europe, I'm only making an exchange into a currency because not everybody in Europe accepts US dollars. if we were to consider a simple fact that when we exchange some US dollars into digital currency, we can travel anywhere on the planet, and the acceptance and the adoption level is 10 times higher than it is in America.
Wow.
Because we're the only country that has a bank on every corner. But because of our time, I'd love to continue this conversation. You're a great interviewer, and your questions were fantastic. I hope I've answered each one of the questions that you've asked in a dignified manner, as professionally as possible. And I do really want to thank you so much for letting me join your show. I'm going to call it a show. That's all I can call it. It's great.
You call it a show. It says show right there on this bottom of the screen. It says Bob Doyle Show. We show all kinds of information. And so I do appreciate that. Now, but I do want to address, because people are, if they're downloading, if they're getting the links, and then there's a link right in the middle that talks about, this is what we talked about on the show, that, that it will grow your Bitcoin. So when you get to that link, and I'm talking about percentages and stuff, I'm going to invite you. You can take the action that I invite you to take. There's nothing to lose there. But if you just want to wait and go, I don't know about this part, that's totally fine. But at the and because we'll explain it next time. We'll get into it next time. We'll give you some security about that next time. Okay, so don't worry about it, but you'll have the link. So you're going to have basically 3 links in what I send you. The first one is just the link to the blockchain. There's no benefit for me. It's just go get that, and so you'll have it. The third link, then the second link will be the one that you can skip for right now. And then the third link will be Cryptocurrency 101, which I do not want you to skip, because that's going to first of all help you get set up with the blockchain wallet, which is you're going to want to be set up by the next time we meet in this Zoom room or wherever we do it, because that's an opportunity for you to see it in action and possibly be one of the people who are benefiting from that little experiment. So definitely take action on those 2 things. Now, if you, in the meantime, if you have questions for me, or questions in general about this, feel free to ask them. I am not going to pretend to know the answers to anything. Okay? So if I get a question that I absolutely cannot have the answer to, I will either pass it on to JP or someone else who knows, and I will get back to you, or we will address it in the next broadcast. Okay? So I just want you to know that I am being way overcautious, because I understand the position that I am in. I want to be super duper responsible about this, because I have no desire to send people down a path that ends up biting them. But at the same time, and this is really, I got to tell you guys, I've been going back and forth on this. How do I not share this, right? How do I not tell my daughters to get a blockchain wallet? How do I, even if there is some risk here and there involved, how do I not do so? Thank you for being here. And for those of you who have stuck through this choppy Facebook broadcast, my goodness, I don't know if it was like this on YouTube, but I can tell you for sure that the recording that I think are going to be, and I hope are the people who are serious, right? Who are willing to be patient, who are ready to learn, right? Who are ready to be open to this new way and ask questions and be inquisitive and do as much fact checking as you want. But the people now who are like, I want to take action on this, I think that's what we're going to snowball into in terms of the group. Those job is to stay the same, to survive, to keep you comfortable, to not take risks, right? And so all those challenges, these questions aren't, it's not that it's irresponsible for you to have doubts, absolutely, but there is a difference between being healthily skeptical, which is good, and do your research, to I'm going to look for the way to say no to this no matter what. And there are some people who operate that way. You, if you're among them, you won't be on the second call or the third call or the fourth call, and I get that. Right, and that's okay. You can do whatever you'd like with this information. But if you see, right now you could be like, I'm still as lost as I was, except that I know that I need to continue this conversation. That's totally great. That right there is qualification for you to come to the next call and participate. Right,